What's up, Moto?
Hey, Dennis.
Good to see you.
Safety is our #1 priority here, so you want to make sure that your brakes are up to snuff.
With products and customers.
Love it. And what Tesla do you drive?
I have a...
So about to head into Unplugged Performance to see what's in store for us today. All right, so we're back again with Moto, as you guys know, and I wanted to know from Moto because he's definitely done this a ton more than I have, autocross, tracking, and everything. And I want to know, like, what are your top 10 tips going into a track day with the Tesla at Tesla Corsa?
Okay, well, top 10 tips, 9 of them be like, stay alert and stay safe. Get a good night's sleep. That's 9 out of 10. But yeah, just to list a few basics, right? Obviously, you want to prepare the car. That's tech inspection. You could do it yourself, or you could have a shop do it. But we want to do this at least a few days beforehand, because when every time we work on a car, we turn 50 screws, right?
Yep.
There's bound to be a loose screw somewhere that we forgot to tighten. So we want to do this well in advance, so that you have time to drive it around on the street. Have anything loose, we take care of it, because your car needs to be perfect before it gets down to the track.
Right.
So don't do stuff on the night before in a rush, because that's always going to lead to issues on the way there. 2-hour trip, over the mountains, right? Yeah. Get to the racetrack, or at the racetrack. We don't want things falling off.
Yeah.
So that's one. Get a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of an extension of not working on the car the night before, but just good night's sleep. It is an athletic event.
Okay.
Probably not body exertion is so much, but mentally you're gonna have to be alert.
Yeah.
You're probably making payments on this $50,000 car.
Yeah.
You want to just keep it, no scratches, no issues, no diving into
the rocks or whichever.
The rocks or whatever, or landing on the roof, right? So that's following instructions, being alert,
right?
Being relaxed, not tired.
So if Tesla Corsa starts at 8 a.m., what time should I leave from LA?
Well, LA to Buttonwillow Raceway Park is a 2.5-hour drive.
Okay.
In a Tesla, you probably need a charge along the way, 20 minutes, right? So I would say 3 hours in advance.
Okay.
So if your first driver's meeting, or let's say that's at 7:30, plan to be there at 7.
Okay.
Push back 3 hours from that, and if that's way too early for you, then there's also an option of driving out there the night before, because hotels aren't nearly as expensive as it is in LA. So that's one way to kind of make the weekend easier.
Makes sense.
But that's one unfortunate thing about racetrack days, is you just got to be there up and early,
Yeah, because that's like the closest racetrack, right? There isn't...
Yeah, I mean, there used to be a bunch of different raceways a lot closer at LA, but those all got turned into malls and residential.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, because even the one, that's Porsche Experience Center, like that's their track, right? They don't let that open for anybody, because that's like a mini track.
That's the reserve for Porsche.
Yeah, that's their own.
So they're happy to lend it to you as long as you come in a Porsche, or you pay a lot of money to use one of their Porsches.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a great place, though. I mean, I help with the creation of a lot of those elements.
That's cool.
It's a lot of fun.
So what about gear, helmets, snacks? Like, what should I bring to a track day?
Well, think of it as an outdoor picnic.
Okay.
You're going to be out in the middle of nowhere, California, and Buttonwillow is like right smack in the middle of farm town USA, right? It's just fields in every direction.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hot during the day, cold as heck in the morning and in the evenings.
Yeah.
So just, all clothing for all of the weather.
Yeah.
Enough snacks to get you through the day. Lots of fluids. We at Tesla Corsa provide snacks and fluids, but just expect to be out in the sun all day long. So hats, just the obvious. You're just going out in a picnic type environment.
Yeah, makes sense. And then what are some ways to like prep myself? Like, should I watch videos of like people on the track, or Like, is there anything out there that's like a resource?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons and tons of videos that are, you know, track day. A lot of it concentrates on lap time and the visual and just performance of the car, but you kind of tend to want to get away from that.
Yeah.
We want to introduce you to a new sport, basically. So, clear mind.
Okay.
Open-minded. You know, just calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, relax. We're going to teach you everything you need to know.
That's awesome.
So yeah, you don't have to know stuff coming in. In fact, you know, the more you know, the difficult time instructors have trying to get you out of bad habits.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Any other tips?
No, just you just gotta smile and be prepared to have fun and have a car that's ready to go. You know.
Yeah.
That's the only thing really.
Yeah, and you don't have to take like a Model 3 Performance. You could take a regular Model 3, any Tesla, essentially, right?
Yeah. I mean, any car, anything on four wheels, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you didn't have Tesla, the Tesla Corsa is part of Speed Venture track day, so you can bring other cars. If your friends have other cars, you can, you know, join in and do the same day.
Yeah.
Your friend in a FRS or Miata or whatever, right? But Tesla Corsa exists because EVs have a unique need, different than a gas car.
I see.
And you know, that's why we go to a track that's got 20 chargers on site.
I see.
Things like that, right? And we have UP guys that are versed in maintaining a Tesla car at a track, you know, whether it be against heat issues or whatnot.
Perfect. Sweet. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem.
So now we're here with Luke, and he's going to give us his tips on tracking your Tesla, like the top 5.
Yeah, sure. So number one is going to be setting your PSI. A lot of the time when you take your vehicle out to the track, your temps are going to increase on your tires, and that's actually going to give you a lot of like dynamic feedback in terms of how your tires interact with the track itself. So you want to make sure that when you're getting to the track that you drop your PSI so that when your tires get up to temp, the air inside of the tires actually expands and then reaches your target PSI for how you want those tires to perform on the track. It is something that you do have to tune yourself a little bit, and it's something that we definitely recommend checking basically when you finish your track, your first like lap out. Once your first session is done and you check your temps right afterwards, it tells you what PSI you were at when you were at maximum temperature, right? Okay. So then by understanding that, you can tell yourself, okay, do I go up in temperature or in PSI, or do I go down in PSI, so that you're properly tuning your tires for optimal performance.
Gotcha. And then, so should I bring like a tire inflator to the track, or do you guys have that? You'll have that for Tesla Corsa?
Yeah, we always have them with us, but it is always nice if everybody's trying to use the same one at once or something like that, it's always nice to have an extra.
Gotcha. Perfect. Sweet. What's your like number 2?
Number 2, we're gonna hop in the car. We're gonna take a look at the screen.
Sweet.
So number 2, now that we're in the car, we're gonna go ahead and show you what track mode looks like. So the way that you access this is gonna be to click on the vehicle down here in the bottom left. You're gonna select Dynamics, and then you're going to go ahead and select track mode. I believe you have to have your foot on the brake to select this. It's going to give you a prompt here. Make sure that you read this before you select agree. We're gonna go ahead and jump into track mode here. And then when we do this, it gives us access to a lot more data. So it can give you like motor temperature data, your brake temperature data, and things of that nature, which are extremely useful when you are driving on track. If you get your brakes like too high and things of that nature and you start to feel that brake fade, these are some other helpful indicators. Now obviously you're not going to be looking at the screen too much as you're going to be looking at the road, but you know, these parameters are extremely helpful. Now when it comes to the actual regen itself, this is what I wanted to touch on. So when it comes to braking, regenerative braking does put power back into the battery, and it also does heat it up. So you'll find you can actually adjust this by adding a new profile, and when you add a new profile, you can essentially adjust these parameters to your liking. Now you can take the regenerative braking down, and by doing so, you are then kind of managing the battery temperatures better, so that you can essentially create more lap time or seat time for yourself and get more fast laps and hot laps on the track before you bring the car in between sessions.
Yeah, and I can hear the fan going on right now.
Yes. As soon as you hit track mode, a lot of the time what it does is turn the fans on. It assumes track mode assumes that you are going to be hitting the track very, very soon after you select track mode, basically. So a couple things that track mode does is it turns on the fans because its goal is to keep your battery temps as managed as possible. But also the battery itself does need to be warm. So what it's doing is it's actually moving the fluid and heating the battery up, as well as keeping those fans going to ensure that it's monitoring those temperatures. Another thing that's actually really useful is if you are supercharging between sessions, is making sure that the battery is hot before you go out. What we do a lot of the time is once we are done charging, we'll throw the car into track mode, even if we're not gonna have a session for, let's say 20, even up to 30. It does drain your battery. Obviously your car's putting in a lot of work to manage these temperatures, but we do usually leave our vehicles in track mode even if we're done charging before our next session, just so that our vehicle is as prepared as possible when it comes time to actually hit the track.
Gotcha. So any tips on like when I get there, supercharge right away and then just turn on track mode once I'm done charging and leave it into that until we're ready to race?
Exactly, yeah, because by doing so, you're essentially ensuring that your vehicle's temperatures are all up to spec and optimal before you hit the track. And the earlier that you do it, the more timeline and the better chance you give your car of achieving those metrics rather than just hitting a button and driving off.
Gotcha, sweet. And then you were talking something about like braking or brake test or something?
Yes. So there is, if you want to essentially do a brake test and make sure that your brakes are functioning prior to hitting the track, this is not something that I recommend doing on a public road, but I'm just going to show you real quick how to access the factory brake burnishing screen. First, we're going to go ahead and take us out of track mode here. To do so, you basically select the dynamic option here and you select track mode again, which then turns it off. Now for the brake burnishing itself, we are going to jump into service mode here. Okay, and now be sure that you do read this. In the service mode, you do have access to a lot more vehicle parameters and settings and adjustments and changes and whatnot, and you definitely don't want to go in there and mess anything up. So really, if you are going to be following these steps, make sure that you're proceeding with caution here. We're going to go ahead and enter into service mode. All right, so you're going to go to chassis and then you're going to select brakes here, and then you're going to see a really big monitoring system here. This is just showing you kind of more of a presence test as to like what's connected to the car, what it's reading and things of that nature. In this case, it's going to be essentially just verifying that the wheel speed sensors and things of that nature are connected. It's showing right now that there is proper pressure on all four brake lines, as you see the lines indicated in green. But the other important thing here in terms of checking your brakes is you can select a brake burnishing here. This procedure should only be performed by service professionals. Regenerative motor torque will be set to 0 to help brake burnishing. So what this does is this allows you to be able to test your brakes without having regenerative braking on. It allows you to resurface the pad face, the brake pad face, and the rotor face to ensure that both of them are functioning and biting each other optimally. So if you were to start the guided process, basically what it does is it gives you a sliding bar. We'll go ahead and do this for all intents and purposes. It gives you a sliding bar, which, as you can tell, as I press the brake, it tells you whether I'm in the target braking zone for brake pressure to properly pair the brake pad surface to the rotor surface.
We can do this while we're stopped, or you have to?
No, you obviously have to be driving, yeah. And this is just for visual purposes. But yes, we will be, once we get this car off the lift and we finish this this brake flush, we'll go ahead and do this for real.
All right, so as a newbie, this is my first time. What's like your one last tip for me going into Tesla Corsa? I
would say on your warm-up lap, the biggest tip that I have is making sure that you're braking very hard in sections that you are braking. The performance of your vehicle is going to be very pertinent to your tire temperatures. And we find that usually most sessions you end up getting about 5 laps, which gives you a warm-up and a cool-down lap. So you want to make sure that all 3 of those hot laps where you're giving it your all that you can, and your vehicle's at an optimal place to perform well. And if you're not aggressively hitting your brakes on your warm-up lap, then when it comes time to like hit the brakes and also get your vehicle to like rotate and things of that nature, you might not get the responsiveness that you're looking for. And trust me, you can tell a night and day difference when your tires are up to temperature. And the last thing you want to do is put in all this effort to charge your vehicle, go out to the track, and all of those things, get your hot lap, and then have not proper grip on the track, and then have improper vehicle handling. All of those things are going to directly affect your driving habits and your lap times, which is what you're looking to improve when you go out.
Gotcha. So basically, try and warm up your tires as much as you can on the warm-up lap by braking hard, but then also speeding to brake hard as well on that warm-up lap.
Yeah, exactly. Some people will like kind of do that. You'll notice some cars like NASCAR, they'll do like the swerving back and forth, and the intention is to get those the tires up to temperature. Now, if you're going to be taking a factory vehicle that has a relatively conservative alignment, the vehicle dynamics are going to be very, very different than something, let's say, that's like fully cambered out on like slicks and things of that nature. But the same rules apply that like across all tire types, where it's like if you're not at an optimal temperature, you're not going to get the performance you're looking for out of them.
Gotcha. Sweet. Well, sounds good. Thanks so much.
Yeah, pleasure.